Our opening words are from Jane Fonda's acceptance speech upon receiving the 2021 Cecil B. DeMille Award presented at the Golden Globes last month. Ms. Fonda stated, "In a turbulent, crisis-torn time like this, storytelling has always been essential. You see, stories have a way to change our hearts and minds. They can help us see each other in a new light, to have empathy, to recognize that for all our diversity, we are humans first. So, let's all of us make an effort to expand the tent so that everyone rises and everyone's story has a chance to be seen and heard." Jan Callner will light the chalice. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope as a sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. You can blow it out. There you go. Thank you, Jan. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind you to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing with Jan or Mary as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. So let's all sing the opening hymn, "The Oneness of Everything," number 1052.
Or light to meet the eye past the reaches of the mind. There find the key to nature's harmony in an architecture so entwined. Like the birds whose patterns grace the sky and carry all who join in love expanding, the message of peace will rise in flight, taking the weight of the world upon its wings. In the oneness of everything, peace is in the dance of trees who stir before the first breath of wind is yet perceived. Trust in the song becoming one with the dance, and all mysteries can be believed. Songs of lives long past that touch our own are written in the earth ever giving, and now to maintain the harmony gives to us all lives worth living. For the oneness of everything. Still we seek to find a truth that we might understand and reduce to terms defined. Vast and immeasurable time and space, also overwhelmingly designed. Oh, passing years just to hear and to feel the pulse of life enter my soul as a song to sing of the oneness of everything.
Thank you, Jan. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you've joined us today. As a Unitarian Universalist community, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation, inviting speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest to our community that connect with the UU7 principles. Today's service centers around the second principle. We affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Compassion is something that we can easily act on individually. We can demonstrate openness, give people respect, and treat people with kindness on our own. But we need one another to achieve equity and justice. It points us to the larger community. It promotes collective responsibility. It reminds us that treating people as human beings is not simply something we do one-on-one, but something that has systemic implications and can inform our entire culture and cultural way of being. My name is Andy Fagan, and I am your worship associate this morning. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning under these challenging circumstances. If you are a guest and would like to introduce yourself, please raise your Zoom hand and unmute yourself when Diane, our host, calls your name.
All right, I know we have some guests out there today. Yes. Nancy, please unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm Nancy 3 Hoffman, and I'm zooming in from Key West, Florida. I'm a friend of Jan's. We've worked together on musicals down here and met other times, but I'm also going to be one of your presenters in April, talking about celebrating the mundane and my Museum of Umbrella covers. So I look forward to that.
Thank you, Nancy. Stephen Schwabe, please unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm Randy's little brother, and Jan invited me, so here I am.
Great. Let's see, Joellen, could you please unmute yourself?
I'm unmuted. Yes. Good morning. I'm Joellen Imoni. And when Jan knew me, I had a different last name, but we met back in the early 1980s in New York. And we have been, as she said, steadfast friends for many, many years. And Jan, I did not tell you that I'm going to be moving to Montana for my summer. So I'll be a whole lot closer to you in California. So, and I'm in the Villages, Florida, an hour northwest of Orlando.
Thank you, Joellen. Robert Newman, please unmute yourself.
Well, hi there. My name is Robert Newman, and my wife, Britt Newman, is here also on a different screen there. We're coming to you from Stamford, Connecticut, and we've been longtime friends of Jan and love her to pieces, so we thought we'd drop in today and spend some time.
Wonderful. Thank you all for joining us. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, Diane. Welcome everyone from coast to coast. What a great group. If you're not on our mailing list, please visit our website at www.uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. And please check out What's Happening, a weekly e-blast sent to all our members and friends. This is a great way to keep up with the latest news of our community. And as a reminder, if you wish to see this or any of our past Zoom services again, recordings of these services can be found on the UUCC website and Facebook as well. The membership committee invites non-members to consider becoming a member of our community. Please contact Janet Cooper or a board member if you are interested. Thank you. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. Let us now sing the affirmation.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help, and to help, and to help one another.
We set aside this time for any short announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. For any items that need more explanation, please call or email the person after the service to be respectful of everyone's time. If you have an announcement, please raise your Zoom hand by clicking on that raise hand button in the reactions icon, and Diane will call your name. When she does, please unmute yourself and then speak.
All right, does anyone in the sanctuary have any announcements?
I don't think so.
Okay, then Randy, I believe you do.
Yes, I do. Just want to let everybody know that August is approaching, and during those 5 Sundays, we have this thing called the Summer Sermons by Other People series. So any of you members or friends wish to come to the pulpit and deliver a pre-published sermon that you find very touching and appealing to yourself, we'd be delighted to have you. So please submit your request to me, and the first 5 that get in get to do this. So we already have 1. I'm looking for 4 more. So please consider that for one of the Sundays in August. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Janet Cooper, would you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, hello, thank you, Diane. Jan Callner, the very hardworking Jan Callner, and I plan to paint the front wall of the sanctuary this Friday. And we would really appreciate another pair of hands to join us, just make the whole thing go a little faster. So if anyone out there enjoys painting and would like to help, we would love to have you. So that's my announcement. And Andy, thank you so much for the lovely art show. That was wonderful. You guys are all so talented and multi-talented. I learned so much about the whole congregation. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Christine, would you unmute yourself? Chris Fox?
So this is scholarship season. We will be listening into the interviews and hopefully asking some questions this week.
We can't hear you. Chris, could you start again?
Okay, 1 second while I see if I can turn up my volume a little
Thank
bit.
you.
Maybe just go to someone else for a moment, Jan. Diane.
Okay. All right, let's go to Marianne.
Hi, everybody. I finally convinced Ames to come out of his shell, and Ames at Simple Pleasures is going to be doing a concert in the sanctuary on Saturday, March 20th. It's a little Saturday soiree, and we hope you will join us and just celebrate being alive, and we're going to share our music with you. Saturday, March 20th, 5 p.m. and it will be in the newsletter too. Please join us. It's going to be a benefit for UU, and I think Andy's got a little way of figuring out where to get donations and all that stuff, if you care to donate. But we look forward to seeing you and playing music for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. All right, Chris, we try again? Chris
Yes, I
Fox?
think so. How
Oh,
is
that's
this?
better.
Okay, thank you. All right, so it is scholarship time again, and the scholarship team is working really hard on going through the applications. We will be participating in the interviews with the high school students this week. And so, although the congregation gives generously to the scholarship fund, we do accept additional donations so that we can fund another student. So if you are so moved to contribute to the scholarship fund, you can write out a check to the UUCC. And on the memo line, please write scholarship fund. And I would like just to take a moment to talk about Lupita Castaneda, who is a student we have supported throughout her undergraduate program. She did graduate with high honors in January, a full semester early. And I just heard from her this week that she's been accepted into a teacher certification 1-year program at Cal Poly SLO. So this is she's just a wonderful young woman, and we send her all our love and all our congratulations.
Thank you, Chris. Robert and/or Nancy, could you unmute yourself?
Okay, hi, it's Nancy. We are having our moving towards racial justice meeting on Wednesday. We'll be discussing COVID vaccinations and the inequality involved with that. And then in April, we'll be discussing the book, The Fire This Time, which is a series of essays and poems. So if you're interested in doing that, you have time to get the book and
what time is that?
Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
So it's the second Wednesday of the month. If you want to participate, just send me an email so we can send you the Zoom link. Thanks. Anybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Thank you, Nancy. All right, I think we've got all the announcements. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Diane. Next week, this congregation's beloved friend, Michael Esselman, will present a presentation titled Loss, Holding On and Letting Go. It's the first Sunday of the month, so we take a moment to celebrate all those who are having a birthday in March. Birthdays are special. They're a time in which you feel as if the world is taking a moment to invite you into being, just like it was on your day of birth. If anyone who is with us today has a birthday this month, please raise that Zoom hand when Diane calls your name, unmute yourself, and please reveal your special date.
All right, we have a customer. Lou, can you unmute yourself, please?
Hi there, it's March 28th.
Thank you, Lou. And Rebecca, unmute yourself.
Mine is March 20th, the first day of spring.
Thank you, Rebecca. And Christine Fox.
It isn't my birthday, it is Jack's, and his birthday is March 10th.
Okay, those are our March birthdays. Back to you, Andy.
Thank you. This birthday candle honors all the friends and family members of this community who are also celebrating birthdays this month. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. Our first reading is from an article in the National Association of Independent Schools periodical, written by music teacher Amy M. Burns. She writes, "In recent years, there have been numerous articles suggesting that empathy needs to be taught in schools. There are many reasons why incorporating empathy into school curriculum benefits students. These reasons range from strengthening your classroom community to developing your students' leadership skills so that they may use them in their future community. In addition, Children who develop empathy skills at a young age are more likely to develop lifelong skills that will help them understand other cultures and respond positively to them. Defining what empathy is in an elementary school curriculum can be challenging, as there is an ongoing debate about whether we should be teaching empathy. We define empathy as a student's ability to understand the needs of another person and know how to act and respond to make a positive difference. In Michael Morell's book, Empathy and Democracy, Feeling, Thinking, and Deliberation, the author believes that in order for democracy to work, we need empathy. He also believes that empathy can be learned and that more funding for the arts could induce greater empathy in citizens. The arts are intertwined with feelings, emotions, and creativity. Therefore, I believe they can induce greater empathy in people, he writes, especially children. In Ken Robinson and Lou Aranika's book, Creative Schools, The Grassroots Revolution That's Transforming Education, the authors state that the arts are about qualities of human experiences. They speak to the benefits of reforming schools from industrial-based learning to a more creative learning process. Even at a young age, students who create and perform music feel connected to the music. The music innately brings about emotion in them. Let us now enter a place of peace and serenity where you are one with your spiritual being. Be at peace within your space where the absence of all that is temporal is its most cherished gift. Let us enter the stillness. Please come back now. Our second reading is an anecdote. An elderly woman and her little grandson, whose face was sprinkled with bright freckles, spent the day at the zoo. Lots of children were waiting in line to get their cheeks painted by a local artist who was decorating them with tiger paws. "You've got so many freckles, there's no place to paint," a girl in the line said to the little boy. Embarrassed, the little boy dropped his head. His grandmother knelt down to him. "I love your freckles. When I was a little girl, I always wanted freckles," she said, while tracing her finger across the child's cheeks. "Freckles are beautiful." The boy looked up and said, "Really?" "Of course," the grandmother said. "Why, just name me one thing that's prettier than freckles." The little boy thought for a moment, peered intensely into his grandma's face, and softly whispered, "Wrinkles." Today's sermon is titled, "Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, Choosing a Good Story," to be delivered by Jan Callner. Jan, our fabulous pianist and musician, has spent many years singing and making music. Even though her current focus is on the written word, she's finding out it's not so very different. Words are music too, and it is joyful for her to put them together into their own melody. Jan has enjoyed a thoroughly exciting life so far. Please welcome Jan Callner.
So far, so good. Thank you, Andy. The best arguments in the world won't change a person's mind. The only thing that can do that is a good story. That quote is attributed to Charles de Montesquieu, French philosopher and scholar who lived during the era of enlightenment. I, though not a philosopher and who with some stretch might be called a scholar, maintain that not only can a good tale change minds, it can also shape them. Stories allow us to view the world from perspectives we might never experience on our own and act as windows into others' lives. Some of the oldest stories in the world comprise a genre I love, fairy tales and fables. I have read hundreds of works by the brothers Grimm, much of Hans Christian Andersen, and a good deal of Aesop. All those stories prepared me to write or co-write the 20 or so musical plays for young audiences I have in my repertoire. Live theater is one way to tell a good story. We use dialogue, actors, scenery, costumes, and often music as components. The first show I ever wrote music for was a version of Cinderella. We called it Cinderella, the Shoe Musical. It blossomed in 1980 at a regional theater north of New York City, the Farm Playhouse, which was the old Borden dairy farm of Elsie the Cow fame. My writing partner, Bill Wheeler, wrote the book and named the stepsisters Repulsa and Nausea, the stepmom Gagatha. You might guess where one can go from there. I wrote songs like We're So Beautiful, If the Shoe Fits, Wear It, and the finale song, We're Having a Ball. So if the shoe fits, wear it. Don't go tearing at my heartstrings. I've been walking all day and my tootsies are sore. I don't think I can take no more, no more. So if the shoe fits, wear it. Don't go tearing at my heart strings. Applause, applause, applause. We're having a ball. We're having a ball. We're having the ripping, roaring, bestest time of them all. We're having a ball. We're having a ball. Look out for the stepping, leaping, kicking feet at the ball. When you hear the beat come flying out of the rafters, you know the time is right for kicking off the old shoes. Shoes, shoes, shoes. Shoes, shoes, shoes. Shoes, shoes, shoes. Dance break. We're having a ball. We're having a ball. Look out for the stepping, leaping, kicking feet at the ball. We're having a ball. We're having a ball. We're having a ball. We're having a ball. Ball. We're at the ball. Oh, please. Good theater, like good stories, resonates. Nausea and Repulsa didn't get very far with either their outsized egos or their outsized feet. Selfishness and meanness, their best features, did not serve them well. Cinderella, on the other hand, was good and kind, and after a rough start, she made out all right. The audiences of young people got the message, without a sermon or the moral of the story is. It is Aesop's fables that are considered morality tales. Aesop was a slave who lived in ancient Greece between 620 and 564 BCE. The ant and the grasshopper story is attributed to him. My partner, Bill, and I turned it into Hoppers and Ants, a musical play about homelessness. The hoppers have not prepared for winter, while the ants have been over the top relentless in their food storage endeavors. As implausible as it sounds, the ants give the hoppers shelter for the winter. We're not talking reality. We're using metaphor to expand the thought processes of an audience, and it works. Then there was the garbage show, full of Saturday Night Live style skits. We called it This Show is Garbage. It ran at the Wings Theater on Christopher Street in Greenwich Village. The piece dealt with how much waste we generate and what happens to it all. A facsimile of the arch in Washington Square Park, created completely from trash, served as the set. And with a grant from Charlestown Montessori, the show toured schools in Charleston, South Carolina. Students at each school made their own arch out of their family's trash brought from home. Later, we remounted the show in Key West, Florida, with a group of children in our summer theater workshop. One couple who had a daughter enrolled in the program was excited to tell us that they had seen a show just like this years ago in New York at Wings Theater. We informed them it was not only a show just like this, it was exactly this show. But now they were watching their daughter on stage. The garbage show, they said, made a lasting impression on their environmental conscience. Now their daughter could share that benefit. People have told me through the years that it was the garbage show that opened their eyes to recycling and environmental care. In 1988, I wrote a song called We Are a Family for a version of Noah's Ark we simply called Noah. After bickering and squabbling for at least 40 days and 40 nights, the animals realize they're all connected. 2 by 2 and group by group, they join to sing until the whole ark is enveloped and united in song. We are a family, we belong to the world. We are a family, we belong to each other. All brothers and sisters and mothers of life, fathers and sons and the lovers of life. These lyrics have been translated into Spanish, French, Italian, and Hebrew, and they have the same meaning, no matter the language. In our Jack and the Beanstalk, Mr. and Mrs. Jack Sprat sing, You Started It. You can guess what that might be about. He, the sky is blue. She, the sky is gray. He, you always get your own way. So you can tell it's not all roses in fairy tale land. Tension is created so that resolution can follow. In this show, drama builds when Jack's mom tells him he must sell his cow, Best Buddy. That's not the name of the cow. That's the name of the song. Looks like we have to part ways. Sure wish that you could have stayed. You'll take the high road, maybe you'll be a star. I'll take the low road, I'll try to go real far. You've been my best buddy for as long as I remember. Remember the time I climbed a tree I couldn't get down. You waited there so patiently till I was found. And the time we played hide and seek, you were lost nearly a week. How we laughed when you came home. You'll take the high road, maybe you'll be a star. I'll take the low road and try to go real far. You've been my best buddy The show is poignant, yet charmingly amusing, with a giant who can't count and an obnoxious singing harp. When Jack climbs the beanstalk, his mom and all the other characters in Jacktown sing, "Jack, Come Back." And my friend Britt, who's here today, played this part in one of our productions. I think of you every time I play this song. Jack, come back. You didn't even ask, Jack. Jack, come back. You didn't even ask, Jack. Think of all the other Jacks who didn't listen to their mothers. They were in such a terrible rush. That's why they got in so much trouble. There was Jack, the nimble one. He was quick. He had to jump the candlestick. And when Jack and Jill went up the hill, look what happened to them. Little Jack Horner had to sit in the corner. And poor Jack Sprat had such a dietary problem. If you climb up to the sky, who knows what you'll find, Jack? You might fall through a cloud and the thunder will be so loud up there, Jack. Jack, come back. He didn't even ask, Jack. Jack, come back. You didn't even ask, Jack. Jack, come back. You didn't ask, Jack. Jack. In the end, we discover the giant to be a sentient being with great empathy. He gives Jack gold to help him and his mom survive. I worked for 2 theater seasons in Key West, Florida at the Red Barn Theater and the Waterfront Playhouse. While there, Bill and I received a grant to write a musical about the diversity of our southernmost city, whose slogan is "One Human Family." We decided to make our characters sea creatures who lived on the reef: a sea star named Estrella, a conch shell, the symbol of Key West, as the queen, a crab named Buster, who claims to be part hermit, a seahorse, Silver, Lola the lobster, and an electric eel, Eli, comprise the cast. Not only did the show celebrate diversity, it addressed the condition of the barrier reef and ocean pollution. We titled the show Conked, as Key West refers to itself as the Conch Republic. The grant mandated performances in all the schools in the Key West School District. The costumes were gorgeous, designed and executed by Sushi, a talented Key West celebrity. I surmise that those children of Key West who saw a live theater production took away from it something of value. They may never see another show in their entire lives, but at least they saw one. They saw Conked. And I can say without any hint of nostalgia that every holiday season for 11 years, I produced and directed a production of Frosty the Snowman. I did not write the book or the music, except for one short ditty Frosty sings. Instead, a compilation of well-known songs provided the score, like Jingle Bell Rock, music from the Nutcracker, solely so the dancing bears could have their ballet moment, and of course, the ubiquitous Frosty the Snowman, which I would prefer never to hear again. The plot concerns a little girl, Susie, who gets lost in Toyland where the mean mayor is unkind to all the toys. She and her friend Frosty convince the toys to show the mayor the error of his ways. In the end, it turns out Susie is his long-lost granddaughter. He missed her so, and that's why he was mean. Hundreds, maybe thousands of children took something away from those dozens of performances through the years. Perhaps it was, no one will like you if you're mean. Not a small lesson. Whatever it was, they ate it up to see live theater, including bears who danced to Tchaikovsky's music, and a 6-foot Frosty for these tiny people was magic. The Frog Prince and the Magic Fish are my two pièces de résistance. I spent hours in the studio with my talented actors and singers to produce fully realized CDs of both works. The Frog Prince is about a snotty human princess and a human prince who becomes a frog. Only when the princess keeps a promise she originally made in bad faith does he return to his human form. She struggles to keep a promise in a song, and hence the title of this talk. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, there's this frog and I don't know if I ought to make him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I promised I would let him stay, but I don't want to. It's the right thing to do, but I don't want to. I don't know if I ought to make him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Everyone will be upset if I don't, but I don't want to. He's not so bad, but I don't want to. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, there's this frog and I don't know if I ought to make him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. He stays. The princess realizes the importance of keeping promises, and the finale of this play is called Sometimes a Promise. Sometimes a promise can make the world a better place. And you all, some of you know this song and can sing with me. Sometimes a promise can make the world a better place. Sometimes a promise brings a smile to someone's face. Sometimes a promise means more than you thought it would, but always a promise kept is something good. Promises mean everything to someone who's counting on you. Keeping a promise means you can count on them too. Sometimes a promise. Sometimes a promise. Sometimes a promise means more than you thought it would, but always a promise kept is something good. Sometimes a promise means more than you thought it would, but always a promise kept is something good. I have an audience of one here today. Two, sorry. My 3 young grandchildren have just discovered the magic fish. I don't know if they're here. They were supposed to be. I don't know. I hope they are. Um, the magic fish is a retelling of The Fisherman and His Wife about a couple who live in their happy seaside hut. When they discover a magic fish who grants wishes, they ask for a charming cottage, which is lovely, but not quite lovely enough. So they request a mansion, and finally, when they become king and queen, they reside in a castle. Kind of looks like Hearst Castle, right? My grandkids have all the lines memorized, and they can't stop singing I Am a Pelican. But 5-year-old River's favorite song is about friendship. Your heart would melt if you heard her little girl voice singing, "What do you do when a friendship is through? Do you cry your eyes out?" I extrapolate from their retellings that they have learned if you ask for the sun and the moon, the whole world could come crashing down. I'm going to sing the song that the pelican sings that the kids like so much. And the young woman there that on the slide is Kat Cleve. And she played the pelican when we did the show here. She went on to get her degree in drama acting at UC Santa Barbara, and she is now in London getting her master's degree. So it's all because of the pelican. Welcome to my world, here at the ocean. I swim in the waters, I walk on the sand. I am a pelican, I am a pelican. For I can sing, and I can talk, and I can squawk, 'cause I'm a pelican. A pelican is a kind of bird, often seen and sometimes heard, with a giant beak and 2 webbed feet and a heart of gold, or so I'm told. I am a pelican, I am a pelican. I can sing and I can dance and I can squawk, 'cause I'm a pelican. Yes, I am a pelican. And this is River's favorite song. I think. She's probably changed by now. What do you do when a friendship is through? Do you cry your eyes out? What do you do when you feel so blue? And how do you know when it's time to go? Do you hear a clock chime? And where does it say you've got to stay where you're not wanted? Why does it seem like this is a dream, and I wish I'd wake up? What do you do when a friendship is through? Do you cry your eyes out? What do you do? What do you do? We perform both these shows for the community here in Cambria. The Frog Prince at the elementary school, where the entire school squeezed into their cafeteria/gymnasium. This is a picture of Mrs. Moore's 4th grade class and the cast. You can probably pick out some familiar people there. And a letter from one of the students, his name was Shady, or I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, Shady, says, "Thank you for coming to our school and performing frog prints. My favorite part was when the princess, the queen, the king, the prince, the frog, and the fairy was singing at the end." And just so you know, the song they were singing was Sometimes a Promise. Shady liked it. The next year, the Educational Foundation of Cambria paid for 6 performances of the Magic Fish and bused the entire elementary school in grade groups to the Cambria Center for the Arts. Here's one of the letters from a 3rd grader. "Thank you for the show. I liked the part when the pelican and the wife were fighting over the pie. I also liked it when they became royalty and when they changed the house. Sincerely, Javier." And a note from one of the administrators read, "The Magic Fish also encouraged classroom discussions of morals, values, and art projects in the lower grades." Wonderful. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we could write a play about world peace, about ending world hunger, about social justice and environmental care that the whole world would see? Wait a minute. In addition to these 9 shows, there are lots of plays and music about just those things. How many people in the world have seen The Wizard of Oz? Millions, no doubt. The show and the movie have been around almost 100 years. And we know the moral of that story is not, there's no place like home. We're talking about stories and how they change and shape lives. I speak mostly about musicals for young audiences because that's what I've spent a good chunk of my life doing. One of my sons recently asked me if I had any insight as to why people had such opposing ideas and points of reference. I said there was no definitive answer, but many clues can be found in what we read, what we don't read, or, unfortunately, even if we read. And by extension, the stories we're told, whether on stage or film, and our exposure to the arts in general. These stories, whether in plays, books, movies, songs, transport us to places we cannot physically travel. They allow us, both child and adult, to see the world from someone else's perspective, even if it's a frog or a magic fish. It is that perspective which enables us to experience empathy. And empathy is that most necessary ingredient for coexistence. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you for leading us on that journey through your music, which has taught children of all ages empathy and compassion. Normally at this time, we receive offerings from our congregants. However, due to the virtual format of this service, we invite you to make your offering in one of the methods shown on the slideshow. These methods are posted in the newsletter and on the UUCC website. Please keep in mind that our congregation is entirely self-governed by the democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and institutional well-being. You are invited to participate in the blessing of giving by sending us an offering. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mary, and thanks for all the gifts given and received for the work of this community. Now, let us sing the doxology.
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land by every tongue.
Please join in singing the closing hymn, We Are a Family, by Jan Callner.
This song is the song from Noah that I was telling you about. We've kind of adopted it here at the UU Cambria. We are a family, we belong to the world. We are a family, we belong to each other. All brothers and sisters and mothers of life, fathers and sons and the lovers of life. We are a family, we belong to the world. We are a family, we belong to each other. Somewhere in time when the future belongs to another, the sons and the daughters discover each other, and somehow they'll remember this day and know we are a family, we belong to the world. We are a family, we belong to each other. From the smallest to the tallest, the old and the young, the strong and the weak. On the plains, in the cities, the forests, and across the sea, it's the same air we all breathe. All brothers and sisters and mothers of life, fathers and sons and the lovers of life. We are a family, we belong to the world. We are a family, we belong to each other.
Thanks again, Jan. Now, let us recite the valediction. The flame of this chalice will no longer burn today, but the light of the flame within our hearts continues to shine brightly, illuminating the love felt in our community. After the benediction, please click the gallery view button in the on your screen, but please remain muted. Diane will call on you when you raise your Zoom hand for any comments. Jan will now deliver the benediction.
The last song of every show is called a finale, but it's a benediction. It sums everything up, and it sends us away with something we hope is good. Some years ago, my husband, Michael Calderwood, and I were asked to create a musical for a version of Charles, of The Wizard of Oz. Charles Santori illustrated a most gorgeous, gorgeous book. So we rewrote The Wizard of Oz. He did most of the work, but I helped. And I'm going to sing that song that Glinda, the Good Witch, starts the song, and then Dorothy has a little bit, and then the Tin Man, and it's hard to sing 3 different parts, but just use your imagination. And then I will segue into a song called Happily Ever After that I wrote for a version of Beauty and the Beast. This is Michael's Home Again. Dorothy, Dorothy, I've watched you travel on your journey through these pages. Dorothy, look at you, Dorothy. Without you, we could not have told our story. Look there beside you, what do you see? 3 who will take with them a part of you, and you a memory. Home again, I'm going home again. You've made us come alive and live inside your mind. Home again, I'm going home again. You've traveled far, your journey's done. Go home and just remember, if you need a friend, we're waiting right here on these pages. You'll find us right here waiting for you. And so the tale ends, it's true, as all good tales are meant to do. But what kind of story would it be if we didn't say they lived happily, happily, happily ever after? Happily, happily ever after. Not the end and not goodbye. The words that you will recognize are happily, happily ever after. Happily, happily ever after. If once upon a time are the first words that you hear, when the story has been told, you'll find all that's left is the echo of the laughter. The last thing to be said is this: happily, happily ever after. Happily, happily ever after. Happily, happily ever after. That's all, folks.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Jan.